Welcome everyone. Welcome to Drakenmemoria. Yes, I know, you were sure that we weren't going to do anything tonight, but hey, we're here. I know, there was a little problem setting everything up and then settling something with all of my players. But hey, now we're here, and now we're about to play. And for those of you who might be wondering, well, what are you gonna do? You know, you just said, welcome to Drakenmemoria, so... This is Dungeons and Dragons, or more specifically, a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. So if this isn't what you want to watch, well, there are other channels right now streaming live. But if you want to watch this, then we're glad to have you with us, whether you are here from a previous session, from a friend that says that it's not bad, you know? Sometimes they're fun. Sometimes you can laugh with them. Sometimes most of the time you laugh at them. That's all right. We are welcoming of everyone. Well, mostly, you know, if you really think that there's no way that there's nothing in the universe that we wouldn't welcome, that's just because you have a lack of imagination. But most of the things, we are very welcome that you're here. Other than that little rant, don't have much else to say. As always, thank you for Carony City Guild to let us post on their Discord page to try and get more people watching. And Chaotic Calling, who will most likely join us later during the evening. Usually in half an hour, 3/4 of an hour. Well, right now it's more than half an hour. So, for everyone else, if you want, we'd love it if you say hi, if you said hi in the chat, you know, so not just in front of your computer, that's because we can't hear it. But hey, so, there really isn't much else to say. So let's get in. Let's start this session, because for those of you who are returning from a previous session, you would know that the story is most likely going to start to pick up because of everything that happened in the previous session. Previously, the party finally managed to finish their quest list that they had all selected inside the garden, the organization they have all decided to work for, or with, rather. They finally finish all of their quests. Some with weird results, some with terrifying results, some with very few results. But nonetheless, they have survived it. But in the previous session, they have re-encountered their old enemies, the priests of the Hunter God, a fallen druidic cult that has been growing in strength and power inside the Mistal Island chain, and have been actively hunting audience for a while, and are starting to take an interest in Fisher and Remy also, because they have been meddling in their affairs a little bit, and they really didn't appreciate it. Turns out that the entire laboratory in which they were was in fact, because they took an unfortunate detour in another dimension, which threw them about a month in the future. Because of that, the entire dungeon had become a trap for them. Have a better understanding of who they were, what were their abilities, what were they capable of, what was their limit. And once they reached the end of this small test chamber, as it had become, audience also found himself facing his exact opposite. which has repercussion in more than one ways because of who he is worshipping, which means what is the opposite worshipping exactly. And there's also the question of honor, which he chose to respect beyond anything else at the end of the fight, letting her leave with her life. After giving the room in which they were a good search and finding one piece of treasure which the hunter cult had left behind, they gathered themselves up, they made their way back to the entrance, and were about to once again face the outside world. And also the gnome who had sent them in just 2 days earlier, who was most likely aware of this trap at the end of the laboratory, well, test chamber. And so this is where we are. And as a dungeon master, I'd say hopefully, if the group remains stable enough, we will stop taking on extra quests to have new members rejoin and get themselves updated with the necessary information. And so finally the story can actually start unfolding at a normal pace. So
and as they leave the laboratory, giant rocks fall from the sky. DC 30 dexterity
we all
saves.
Doing 27d6 of damage from the fall itself, and then
We go to a new town where a new party of adventurers begins.
and the dungeon master watches the group in shock because they had just reached level 5. And yes, I wasn't kidding. The party leveled up at the last, at the end of the last stream. I posted it on our Twitter, but since no one actually reacted to it, I'm guessing that only the 6 people who are currently following it got the message. But hey, they leveled. And so this is where we are, as the entire group is reaching the exit. The only thing you missed, audience, because you left a few minutes earlier than the actual end, was Fisher shoving the leg he had managed to dislodge from the shield guardian inside your dimensional space. It was just high enough for the leg to fit in.
Okay.
So you also have the right leg of a shield guardian inside of there.
I mean, the guy did say he wanted to take the shield guardian and rebuild it for him.
I know, right?
To make it more difficult.
Just can we all at least agree to not turn this this particular leg into a lamp?
Oh, now
Pretty good point.
are you sure you want to give Gnome this idea?
Alright. So we're back at the entrance?
Yes, you are just about to emerge. You see the sunlight in front of you. Well, actually, it's more like the end of the day because you took an 8-hour long rest in the middle of this exploration. So it's most likely the end of the day.
Is the dome there?
Well, actually, when you exit this tunnel, you don't see anyone waiting for you. It's actually quiet. Not eerily quiet, just abandoned quiet.
But our quest reward. That's fine.
The equipment hasn't been removed. You still have the tents, the campfire that isn't lit right now. Everything is still there, but there doesn't seem to be anyone there.
Alright. I guess I'll look around and be like, it looks like our gnome friend has left.
Alright, so how thorough of a search are you doing?
I mean, I guess I'll go check the tents.
Okay. Make a perception roll. Well, I could give you investigation also, since you are actually rummaging through things.
Doesn't matter for me.
Can I make an investigation roll for that?
I'll bless, not bless, but guide Sam.
No, I'd guide the other. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, you started searching first.
What does
Yes,
that give me? An extra D4?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not
Can I
gonna
roll
matter.
investigation?
I love the inflection in your voice there.
I already know what I rolled, and I'll tell you right now it's not gonna matter, but I'll roll it. Alright, you got me from a 2 to a 5. Thanks, Jordan.
I rolled higher than you did.
Your D4 rolled higher than my D20 is.
I got a 25 investigation check.
Okay, so
That's a bad sign.
audience should
Honestly, just glances at all the entrances, doesn't see anything, and it's like, yeah, probably not here.
Just do a quick 360. Nope.
Nope.
he does the 5-year-old version of I'm looking everywhere. He just opens the door of the tent, takes 1 second to look inside, and then close it and go to the next one, close it, and then reaches the third one and it's probably the same. So for audience, you hear him say proudly, he's left, he's abandoned us. Coward. But Fisher, you are doing your own investigation. And in one of the tent, one of those that audience completely skipped over, thinking that it was going to be the exact same as everything else, you make a rather grim, slightly disturbing find of a very large pile of ground meat. Enough ground meat that it could fit a gnome.
That's gross. just a pile of...
Yeah, you get the feeling
Flash.
that for some reason, Fisher, you have a flashback of yourself rummaging through the backpack of this dwarf, I believe, inside of the laboratory, doing the raccoon in his backpack and getting everything spread everywhere. You get the feeling that the same thing was done to him while he was still alive.
Mm.
Jesus Christ.
Do I have any sense of what would have done that to him?
With an investigation that high, I'd say you get the feeling that it's a very large beast. Claw marks. Most likely something within the range of a dire wolf. Or several.
Mm-hmm.
You do find, however, on a table that was makeshift table that was placed near where you find this large pile of ground meat. There is a letter. However, it's entirely written in gnomish.
I'll
And it's not
bring
finished.
the letter.
It's still open. And judging from the way that it ends, this happened as he was writing it.
I'll bring it out to audience. I think he gave us a goodbye note.
Well, let's consider it.
Yeah.
He gets out of the tent. You see all the flies just go.
You might not want to go in there. It's kind
Why?
of gross.
What
What's this say?
Oh, I'll look at it, I guess.
He gives you this as, Remy, your passive perception is high enough to start smelling the potent odor of freshly ground meat mixed with the blood and maybe a few hours of being left there in the dark.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, no. Grammy, smelling this. It's like probably starts following it, just like, oh, where is this coming from? Peeks
Oh,
his
Randy,
head
you don't want to go in there.
into the tent,
Jorg?
and then slowly brings his head back out of the tent.
Just as audience takes the note in his hand and starts reading it. Audience, do you read the note out loud or do you read it just for yourself?
I mean, I'll read it to myself first, and
Okay.
then...
Well, you can't help but to feel for the poor gnome. The letter starts out literally by saying, I'm so sorry. And I'm so sorry. They just arrived. Your group wasn't coming. They got in, they killed half of the group, and took the other half inside. And after a week, they weren't coming out. They said that I'd be allowed to see my family again if I just let the other group that was coming go inside. But it's been a day and I don't think they're coming out. And this is where the writing starts becoming scribbled and you get the feeling that something just painfully tear the poor gnome into pieces as he was writing this.
I'll be like, well, he wanted to let us know that, he was very sorry they let us in. He didn't have much choice. They, were gonna let him see his family. Obviously, I think they went back on that last bit from the sense I'm getting that the gnome is dead, probably in that tent.
Gravy has already ran off into the forest.
Well, it's good.
Not the forest, but the.
It's quite a run if you want to do this.
I realized my mistake because I also remember us having this confusion earlier. Just he has ran off to
a bush,
find a private place to be sick.
I'm like, so it seems like the gnome didn't really have a choice. Unfortunately.
Can Jorg knowledge nature it and see if he can figure out? I mean, I assume.
I'd say you could go for medicine or nature.
All right.
Medicine
I'll go
would
medicine.
allow you
Medicine's
to autopsy whatever is left in there, and nature would allow you to figure out maybe how it was done, if it was done by a natural creature or close to natural
Alright.
creature.
Ooh, that is an 13.
13, and you did nature or medicine?
Medicine.
Medicine. It's not a lot. You are looking at this, and it feels like the creature went at it far longer than it needed to. Which for you is a bit the element that is appalling as a druid. Because even even for hunters, they usually don't do this. Once the creature is dead, they either take it away or eat it. There are very few creatures who are actually just doing this out of sadistic nature, and even they don't tear to pieces something as much as that was shredded apart. Feels like not only did he received several blows, but he was torn to pieces and he was still alive. And the way the injuries are made, it makes you feel as though it was purposely done this way.
Yeah.
Another
That-
crime they should pay for.
Yeah.
About 90 feet in one direction, Raimi is on all fours, looking at the ground, dry heaving.
90 feet away, you hear...
Using minor illusion to make the noise of some birds chirping to cover it up.
Yeah.
No, he couldn't find like a rock or anything, so he had to minor illusion a rock. Like,
To hide it under it. He hid the puddle of goop that he just poured out of his body with a fake rock. Looking at it, you know, you were about to use a crate, but would be a bit out of place in here. So,
Well,
audience is currently communing with his god.
at least we don't have to deal with him now. But we didn't bring the cart with us, right?
No.
We didn't.
No, because it's
Did
only...
he have a cart?
You don't see one.
What?
It's only about a day of walk to Otanel.
Uh-huh.
So.
Do you guys want to take some of this stuff, or...
Whatever is left... Sorry. Whatever is left is mostly camping equipment. Provisions, unused water, used water, torn up tents.
I mean, a lot of the spare ground beef.
Nice.
You know, could make a good hamburger with this.
Mm-hmm.
You think we should take him back to his family?
I no idea who
Don't
his
have a-
family is, and
Container
There's-
to put him in.
yeah, I don't think they'd want to see him like that,
Probably not.
and I don't want that smell following us to wherever it is that...
You hear, Fisher, you hear from inside of you with an unusually calm and near mechanical voice. Well, you know, if you want to take this with you, it's going to conserve itself a lot longer if you cook it first.
Not the kind of advice I'm looking for. Okay.
As always, this is all that you heard, Jorg and Remy. In audience, well, he's praying right now. So, giving a prayer to the gnome. That's all you hear, Jorg and Remy. Not the kind of advice I was looking for.
They're used to me talking to myself.
Well, Jorg a little bit less. You know,
Yeah.
he's still not sure you're alive, actually.
Yeah.
The camera cuts back to Raimi as he is now gargling water from his decanter, spitting it back out on the ground.
And then using the geyser function to clean the ground, just make sure no one sees this. Like using...
Look, it's not wasting water if it's
Magical
if it's
water.
limitless.
All right.
Well, Jorg, do you want to do anything with the body? Otherwise, I'm good to just head out.
Yeah. Well, we'll tell the people he died valiantly. And
Did he though?
his family doesn't need to know that he died not protecting us.
Fisher, you hear from inside of you, I don't think he has family left. That was the point of letting you in.
That's a good point.
What's a good point?
Taryn had brought up that there's a good chance his family's in a similar situation.
Ooh. That's no good.
Loose ends and all that.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, we never learned his name anyway, so...
Died without name.
Yeah.
We're not gonna...
Randy, having finally
Easier
rejoining
that way.
the party, a little,
Yeah.
like, little wet, but, just, like, turns to everybody.
I warned you. I told you you didn't want to go in there.
Raimi, Raimi minor illusions, an orb.
Yes, that's probably a good idea. Actually, I was thinking of just heading back, but we might as well.
So, if you want to use the orb, that's always an easy one. If not, there is a village just a few hours away. You'd be able to get there before nightfall.
Raimi will. Raimi will clarify.
Okay.
Just using it to call that confirmed that we finished the mission.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Fisher doesn't trust the teleport.
What happened?
Still. Fisher will pull out his orb and dial up Sierra.
Audience just got back from his knees and is finished spraying for the poor gnome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as always, the moment you open the orb is once again green, and you hear Sierra's voice. Hello, this is Sierra.
We just finished getting out of the arcane laboratory.
Oh,
quest that we were on.
That was an interesting one. We're very eager to hear everything you learned in there.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff. It belonged to a forest gnome that was making weapons for the War of Aberration, we think.
Oh yes, we've heard about this.
We got a lot of those.
Oh.
Lots of traps.
Well, that's to be expected. Usually, arcane practitioner protects their lair. So.
Yeah. So we'll be bringing back a good amount of stuff. There was a bit of a complication, as it seems that the hunter cult that has been after audience, and I guess the rest of us now, we're waiting.
And yeah, they have been after
trap.
Also. They have also been after quite a few of the adventurers. More than one of them have mentioned encountering them.
Yeah. It seems like the gnome out here was forced into helping them. Because they threatened his family. He's dead.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, kind of guessing same thing happened to his family. But yeah, the rest of the other party is also dead.
Okay, so it is a more grim of a news than just good news then.
Oh, we've heard talk of this around the garden. I do believe they refer to it as TPK.
Yes, I've heard those initials before. I've never asked
Yeah.
what it meant, but from the reaction of others, I think it's something very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so we've got some stuff that you guys will probably like to take a look at.
Oh, well then.
We ran. There was somebody from the Hunter cult that I guess met us at the end of the, or in the deepest part of the lab.
Really?
That was a quite powerful magic user,
Oh,
and it seemed they were after some sort of mirror that was in the lab, of
Okay.
which he was able to pull out an exact opposite copy of Audience here.
Yeah.
It was a female blue dragonborn paladin
that is an interesting concept.
who, and then the guy teleported away with the mirror.
Oh, that's too bad.
Yeah. And then Audience beat the paladin, and then she teleported away, or was teleported away. I don't know. A lot of weird stuff happened.
Oh, yes, I gathered. All right, well, that is all very interesting. We're very eager to see what you bring back, and as always, any detail you remember more than what you just said, please do come to the Knowledge Quarter and share everything you have. I'm sure Audience has a slightly different point of view, seeing as he seems to have been the more prominent target of this, at least toward the end.
Yeah. It was weird. I was very confused by what it was.
I can imagine. Meeting a opposite duplicate is most likely something slightly disturbing. And I'm sure there's quite a few members in here also who would find it disturbing. For more than just those reasons.
But
Well,
we should be back in a little over a day, probably.
all right. Well, we'll be expecting you.
Okay. I'll hang out.
Awkwardly.
Well, where's the nearest portal? It's
The nearest portal is at Otanel. Right
Okay,
now, the
so
orb
about
is green. You have used it once when it was completely green, without problems.
They did say they didn't want us to use it though, except in emergencies.
Exactly.
It is an emergency teleport.
Exactly.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
And
Plus,
that's-
I want to stop by Otanel on the way back anyway.
right. So, you are, because of the time that you have to spend climbing down the mountain, you are roughly a day's walk, so maybe 10 hours of walk away from Otanel. There is a village, a small village that's just at the foot of the mountain you're in. So most likely just a few hours of walk. If you go directly to Otanel, you'd be arriving there toward the end of the night.
So we should just go to the village, is what I'm hearing. Spend the night.
Depending
Go
on
off
if you
the
want to walk throughout the night. You did get a good rest during the day, but you are also mostly spent because of your last few flights.
Do we really want to ruin our sleep schedule? We have to think about our sleep schedule.
I don't. I don't really think about that.
True.
Oh, goodness. Audience has a sheltered side. Do we want to mess with our schedule?
I mean, I can't see as well in the dark, so... Not that I can see great normally,
No.
But
I mean, I am quite injured still. I would like to rest in the village, if possible.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Since I had to do a one-on-one fight, that brought me down
Right.
to 8 HP.
Although,
Yeah.
audience, just because of what I'm assuming how you look, Renee just walks up to you and holds out his decanter of endless water.
I'm alright, maybe. I'm not that thirsty. I'm just a little damaged, but I guess technically,
Would
Aren't you
like
not
to take
like
a
covered in
bit
blood?
of a
are we
rest here
are we
first?
actually level 5 or are we not level 5?
Technically, right now, you're not.
Okay. I was wondering because if I'm level 5, I would have spell slots to deal with. But
Yeah.
Most likely,
Oh,
in the
it's like-
morning when you wake up, you will be.
okay.
But Rainey kind of like sheepishly like points to all the blood that your body is covered
Yeah,
in.
because you were healed magically, but nobody removed the splashes of blood that you have on all of your
Well-
body.
Also, after I was healed magically, I was brought back down to 8 HP.
Yeah. Would you prefer it if we took a short rest here so you could get bandaged and cleaned up before
mean-
we head to the village?
No, we can just go to the village. I'm fine. I can make it.
Alright.
Yeah, that corpse is spooky.
I'll start walking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, first of all, are there any like tracks left by the supposed direwolves that came and ripped this poor gnome apart?
With the investigation that you have, you'd most likely have been able to find several. Yeah. However, since you know what they might be, this is less weird, but it does feel like it went from humanoid footstep to beast footstep to walking away in beast and then going back to humanoid.
So it's probably the guy we met, or one of the shape-changing group guys that we ran into.
Yeah, I mean, if you remember the direwolves we met on the road a while ago, those were with the hunter cult, and those appeared to just be slaves, right?
They appear that as that, yes.
Yeah. So, yet obviously connection to the hunter cult, but may or may not have been anyone of importance to them, I guess. Do they head off in a specific direction, and is it the same way as the village?
You'd say yes.
To both those?
Yes. They're going down the mountain and generally in the direction of the village.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so they're kind of going the same direction we're going. So, do you guys want to, if they do split, do we want to keep trying to track them, or do we want to just go? You look pretty roughed up, audience, so I think we
Yeah.
should just go.
Actually,
Oh, that sneeze
as
didn't
a
help your air,
reminder-
man. That
as a
sneeze.
reminder, how's the soil?
You're in the mountain.
Oh. Rocky.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll wait till they get to the bottom of the mountain.
All right. Then, yeah, I guess we'll head off.
Yeah, we'll head down to the village. Push our head
All
down.
right. So you head down the mountain. It's a big mountain. Hold on. I just touched something. I just want to make sure that. Okay, and. Okay. Oh.
keeping a lookout for ambushes.
Then make a perception roll as you are walking down the mountain. As you are coming down the mountain. Right?
Hey guys, we should all keep an eye out for ambushes.
Oh yeah, good idea. I'm
Um,
not doing a very good job, but I'll cast guidance on you.
By the way, for
Well, this is
Oh, wait.
something that's going to be
yeah.
over a long period, so guidance
No.
would be a bit weird on
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's
Yeah,
do
you
that.
get 1 minute of additional help, and then that runs out.
9.
You know, unless you want to roleplay this as all the while you're walking down the mountain, we hear someone in the background making prayers after prayers after prayers.
After like the first minute, I'd be like, okay, George, I know you're trying to help. That is really annoying.
The guy's been praying for 2 hours straight.
Audience actually got a 16, which is good for him.
Yeah.
Right. Perception. Jord got an 11.
Rainey spent the entire time looking concerned at audience. Being entirely focused. He rolled a natural 1.
You've never seen audience this bloodied before. You know he was healed magically, but still, so much blood, so much audience blood.
And in fact, up until he actually ironically washed himself of some of the sickness, I think he was actually still covered in a bit of audience's blood.
Most
So-
likely, since he was
So, like,
just
that thought probably also crossed his mind.
he was just next to you when half of this happened. So yeah.
So Raimi is just like completely zoned out, looking at audience, can't really bring his eyes off of them, but not in the way he usually does.
Yeah. Although for Jorg, it looks like exactly the same as before. All right, so audience and Fisher. Audience, you don't know why, but you're amazingly perceptive compared to what you usually are, right? Maybe it's the fact that you spent the last hour going right in front of your god and then being yanked back into the mortal realm and pushed back in and then yanked back out. Oh god, oh god, oh no. So you are very perceptive for your usual Fisher. Well, Fisher, you're usually rather perceptive, so.
I got a 9.
So, you're usually very perceptive, but you're kind of weirded out by the fact that audience is so attentive to everything that is happening around you.
By the way,
Let's-
guys, this will
let's-
be the
let's
only
be fair.
time- this will be the
I'm
only time
usually-
Audience gets the highest roll.
Kind of perceptive.
Mark it down real quick.
Well, on the road, you are perceptive. It's inside dungeons that you are, for some
Yeah.
reason, completely distracted.
There's lots of cool stuff to look at in a dungeon.
All right, so audience, you look around and you're fairly sure that nothing is following. And as you are walking down the mountain, you get the confirmation that there is no danger around you when you see the village suddenly appearing in the distance.
Alright.
If the enemy came back down, they didn't set a trap for you as you were coming down the mountain.
That was nice of them.
All right, so keep on going, and you make your way in the village. It only takes maybe half an hour from the foot of the mountain to get to the village. As you get in the village, night is starting to fall. People are going back into their homes. As always, it's unseasonably cold right now. The sky is pretty clear. It's beautiful. You have a lot of stars coming out. But as always, it's windy as So I think it's become canon now. As you're coming down the mountain, you sort of remember the map of the Estran Island, and you remember this corridor of plains in the middle, and you sort of get, oh, that's why there's no mountain, no forest in this region. It's a wind tunnel. It's a huge wind tunnel. So, as you arrive in the village, as I've said, everyone seems to just be going about their business as if nothing had happened. Life is going on for them.
That's good.
I guess we should go look for an inn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So as you walk inside this mostly quiet village with everyone going back to their home, you go to the inn that you visited once before. You get inside, and the moment you arrive, you hear someone scream, and another one, "What the heck happened to all of you?" Staring in very intently at audience.
Alright, so just look at them and go, sweet, sweet victory.
Was it though?
I mean,
For
audience it was. He beat another
Maybe
tribal champion.
just responds to that. He has a very pale look on his face.
Fisher, from inside of you, you hear, "You took the words right out of my mouth. Right out of my mouth.
You don't have a mouth.
Right out of my crystals."
yeah.
So you get this. You get the innkeeper. Do you need anything specific? Bandages? Bath?
I wouldn't mind a bath.
A priest? You look like you came back from the dead, but didn't quite die the second time.
No, a good night's healing is... I mean, a good night's rest is all I need.
All right. He lets you in, and he lets you go right up to the counter, and please, he just can't keep his eyes off of you, but not in the way that would make Remy jealous. Here, for weary travelers, a good meal. And he pushes the beginning of a meal toward you. And if you want more, we'd be happy to give you a little more for less money than we would normally. I mean, are you sure you're not gonna die during the night?
Yes, I will be fine. This is not the first time I've it's not my first day adventuring.
Not your first rodeo. Do you know what
I don't know if they have rodeo. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what rodeo is.
As you say that this is not your first day adventuring, you see two very concerned parents leaving this place, dragging their child with them, but you hear the child just as they're leaving the place. That's so cool.
Glad I made a good impression. Yeah, I guess I'll eat the food he offers. I'm hungry.
Yeah, so basically what he's offering, rule-wise, it's whatever you want to eat, he's offering the tier above for the price of the tier below.
Oh, nice. I'll get a hearty meal then. I've earned it.
All right. So a good, comfortable meal, taking everything that is the best that he can give you. At the price of 3 silver, you get a complete meal, meat, bread, cheese, something to dip your bread inside of it, a mug of, well, I was gonna say fine mead, but it's village fine mead, so
Good enough.
it's not noble mead, but it's, you know, it's the good stuff of a village. Then he looks at all the rest of you, and he can't help but notice you also have blood on you, Remy, and he says, "Are you gonna be all right?" And you see him staring at this huge puddle of blood that you have, that is slightly on your back as you were facing away when you saw the hand of the shield guardian go right above your head and smash into audience.
I feel like Remy's probably less okay than audience is. No.
Emotionally, as
Yeah.
but like Remy just kind of like takes, like, you know, like in a rare moment, like takes off his purple coat, and he is completely absent of any injury or even a bruise or a scratch. You guys literally healed him back to full, just passively. But Remy does like imitate the sound of squeaky rubbing, like
Okay.
as he like kind of like holds at his coat.
Right. Yes. We've never offered that before, but for adventurers, if you don't mind paying a copper, I can ask my son there, who is going to clean off the meat of the day on the apron of the cook. I could just ask them to add this on the pile, and just for a modest contribution.
Remy just like looking at the stain, then back at him, and just like slides 2 copper into his hands.
All right, well, no problem. Thank you very much. And he takes your coat, and just as you see his son appear, he just put it in front of his son, and you're gonna have to wash this also. You hear the poor guy say, everything's gonna end up purple in the wash basin. Alright. He takes it, goes away with it. I'll have it back, and he turns around, toward you as he's saying this. I'll have it back later tonight. I'll just ask my father which room you're in.
I just now realized.
By the way, like with the coat on, it's probably more visible to Jorg as he has like a bandolier of daggers around him. He has a stupid number of daggers that he's collected.
And now I know why audience doesn't wear a shirt.
So it doesn't get bloody.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, you've seen the same strategy, Fisher, used by other people. And Remy also. You know, wearing red or black also covers this pretty well.
Yeah.
Alright, so as you're all welcome, with a bit of fear, a bit of intrigued by some people watching you, do you want to buy something to eat, or are you all set and just want to settle your room and go hide in the corner?
I think Jorg will get something to eat.
So you go sit next to audience and you see him eat with this appetite that sort of makes you feel like, well, you know, lions eat with a lot of appetite, even though they're covered in blood from their kills. So you guess it's the same thing with them, with him.
Yeah, I'll have what he's having, but about half of it.
Okay. So it's gonna cost you 3 silver because he's giving you half of what he's got, but the innkeeper wasn't looking at you when he gave his invitation. It was audience and a bit of Remy that he was looking at, because even though Remy is not injured, he did have quite a considerable amount of blood on his back.
Plus, again, he probably just could see the emotional scars as he was removing.
For some reason, Remy was looking at the innkeeper with pigeon eyes, empty, soulless. Because everyone knows pigeons don't have souls. It's a joke from cartoons when I was younger. So, all right.
Yeah.
So you get your food, Remy. Do you think Remy has the stomach to eat something right now?
No, I figured it out. Randy is going to get the modest meal, but as he is the food is being brought to him, he is moving some of it onto audience's plate, and he will basically be trying to do so in secret as audience is eating.
So make a sleight of hand to give someone stuff.
That'll be. Need to remember that this is before. So then this will be a 22.
Yeah, I was.
Audion rolled an 8 on perception, so I don't think it matters. Audience is very focused on this.
Since you weren't even expecting this, I was using your passive perception, which is higher than what you rolled. But even with that, if Remy had rolled a natural 1, you wouldn't have noticed it. I think the minimum Remy has is 10.
But yeah, just I don't know, audience. Maybe you would at least notice, wow, this normally food disappears more quickly than I realized, but now it's disappearing a lot more slowly.
Yeah, the innkeeper wasn't kidding, He gave you a lot more food than what you ordered.
Audience wants all of it. You'd probably finish all of it.
Alright, so as audience is devouring his meal, Fisher and Jorg? Well, Jorg, you're eating something also? Probably looking at audience eating heartily. But Fisher, while all of this is happening, is there anything you'd like to do?
I'd ask the barkeep if he has any berries.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's easy enough to find. Hold on. Goes in the back, comes back out. They're starting to be a bit dry, but, we're on the process of drying them to sell them later on, so they're still slightly juicy.
That'll work.
Single copper, because it's sort of a handful of them. And since there's nothing smaller than a copper.
Yeah, I'll slide him one.
Alright, thanks.
And then I will go sit down with everybody else and take Terry out and put berry in his box.
Okay. So, you open the box. Terry's there. He's looking at you. Waiting for something, apparently. Take him out. Put him on the table, or you just open the top of the box and...
I just opened the top of the box.
So, you open the top of the box. You give a few berries. You see him look at the berries. Look at you. Then you hear from behind of you, Terry Fisher, someone goes, "What the heck is that?" You see a human wearing farmer's clothes, just staring right at the box.
That is Terry.
It has a
My
name?
child.
I gave it a name.
And he does that a
I'd
few
watch
times.
out. If you get too close, it might get you.
Right. He looks at you, and then he looks at audience. Is that what happened to him?
Yep.
Audience goes no. He's not like it. Audience shakes his head at the guy.
Competing persuasion and deception. I want to know who this farmer believes.
I got a 6.
Capital Molten like a 4. Which I did. That's a 19 plus.
Oh man,
It's like a 20. It's like a 23 or something.
your presence is
Charisma.
hard to ignore in a room. You
It's
know,
21.
your presence is hard to ignore in a room. You're a paladin after all. And the moment he sees you just going, right, you're funny. Yeah. So, and he looks at you, audience, so that thing isn't dangerous.
I mean, I don't know. It definitely didn't do this to me, though. I don't think it could. I don't know if it's dangerous or not, though. You could find out if you want. None of us have tested it. Do you want to be our test dummy?
You see that he's honestly thinking about it for a moment.
Here's the papers about release, stating that no damage occurred.
Here, and we're not liable for.
Damage occurred.
As you take out a bunch of paper, you hear the farmers. You've traveled with gnomes way too much. No thanks. I don't think my wife would appreciate it if I came back looking like you. Thanks for the offer, though. And
You're welcome.
he slowly backs off and walks away.
Audience looks a little disappointed. He was kind of excited to see what would happen.
Alright, so as you look at the table with your disappointment, you do see Terry starts mashing up the berries. You know, they're a bit dry. It ends up looking more like a paste than juice, but you see Terry just, well, one side of him is opens up, the one that's always facing someone, and he just starts scooping it up, and you do get the feeling that he's grinding it in his mouth. Sort of making waves all around his, what you'd assume be his face. You get the feeling that, oh, okay, he doesn't chew food. He grinds it somehow. But other than that, the evening goes by uneventful, although you do get a few weird stares from some people as you're eating your meals with a strange creature on your table and audience that looks like He was the latest victim of a bardic tale of zombie coming to life. But other than that, the evening goes by uneventfully. And eventually you get to the point where you need to decide. Are you all going to take separate rooms, go in a single room, and significantly reduce the cost of it, although you are starting to have a lot of money? Or do you want to improvise your own way of sleeping?
I say we take a single room tonight, just to be on the safe side.
I like that idea.
Audience will just open his bloodied arms. Who wants to cuddle?
You hear someone,
Gross.
as you say this, you hear someone in the background go,
Remy is going to reach into his bag and display to audience a box. And as he opens it, there are 3 different bars of soap in it.
Yes, I did ask for a bath. I don't know what was happening with that.
oh,
Thank you.
The moment
thank
you say
Ren.
this, the moment you say this and you turn around and you hear the innkeeper, right, yes, bath. You hear a bit of relief in his voice when you ask for this again. Sure. We can just bring something up if you just want to wash yourself like this. Otherwise, just outside, where we place all of the horse, there is a basin there that you can use to wash yourself in. I'll ask my son to just change the water for you. Maybe bring a barrel if you want to change the water again while you're baiting. Okay, good. So how will you be settling your stay here?
How much does it cost?
That depends on what you want. Of course, there's
We wanna-
always the communal room, which is usually what most adventurers take because it's what costs the least. But yeah, we do have a few rooms that are of a decent quality, and we got one for when nobles come in. You know, it's a little bit more pricey, but you get the feeling that he feels very honest when he says this, but when he shows you the key, you get the feeling that, oh, okay, yeah, a good, comfortable room for a village. So basically, he's giving you the option of the lowest quality room for 7 copper a person, which is the communal room where it's basically bunk beds. A few rooms that are a poor quality, 1 silver, and 1 room that is 5 silver, that is of modest quality.
How many beds are in the nice room?
The nicest room, it's 1 bed, but it's a large bed.
I don't know if we're that close, Fisher.
I don't know. You look pretty messed up. I don't know if you want to sleep on a cot tonight.
I can get a we can get a mediocre room. Or 1 silver.
Yeah, sure. And it can easily be arranged. Medium room, having 2 beds in 1 room. It's going to be a bit tight, but no problem.
How much is that?
Medium room is, I believe I said 1 silver.
Alright. I'll pay him.
Yep. Alright.
Also, I'll take out sheet of paper and draw the hunter cult symbol on it
Okay.
and show it to the barkeep and just go, "You recognize this?"
He looks at it and roll a d20 for me to see how well you drew this thing.
That's a nat one.
Somehow you drew a smiley face?
But black with dog ears. He looks at it and well, it's there's a lot of, your drawing is a little bit vague, you know, there's a lot of deity that use animalistic traits in their depiction.
I'll like look at it and go, that seems about right. Yeah, like a circle with a wolf in it.
Okay.
They are who is responsible partially for that, pointing at audience, and they may have been through here recently.
Oh, okay. Well, nothing in the last few days, but yeah, 2 weeks ago we did encounter a group of them. They stayed here for 2 nights, and then they just went up the mountains.
But you didn't see him on the way back?
No, I didn't see anyone like that on the way back.
Did they mention anything of note while they were staying? Notice anything?
No, actually, we didn't talk to them a lot. We tried to offer them services, and they said they would hunt us until our children would have all been eaten alive. So we mostly left them alone.
Yeah, fair. That was probably a good idea. Well, thanks anyway. I'll take the key and head up to the room.
Okay, so he gives you. So did you take one room for each person, or did you go with your initial idea to be more than one person in each room? So basically 2 rooms.
We were bunking up, right?
That's why I'm asking, because
Yeah.
initially you
Yeah.
said you would, but that's the communal room. If you're using a better room, usually it's 1 bed and maybe a footlocker at the. But because he is impressed and a bit fearful of your group, he doesn't mind pushing a second bed inside. You know, he doesn't want to disagree with you too much.
Yeah, I guess we do that then.
All right. So, he gives you the key. Show audience to his bath. And you all make your way. Who's going to be sleeping in whose room? I know what Remy wants to say, but I want to know what actually happens.
I mean, the audience would be the last in, right? Because all the others would have gone to bed. So
Yeah.
those 3 probably have to figure it out.
So I'd actually, Remy has a different idea before he actually goes to the room this evening. So I guess that really more depends on Fisher and Jorg if they just decide to unanimously take a room together.
Yeah.
So that's all up to you.
Jorg, which room do you want?
Oh, I don't know. I'll just take one of them. Which room do you want?
Probably gonna take the hallway.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I got a whole room to myself. If I choose right,
Sure.
or I'll just see if audience comes in here
I don't know.
or Raimi. What's Raimi doing?
Apparently he
I don't
stayed
know.
downstairs.
He disappeared.
Oh,
I can never keep track of him.
well, I'm going in this room, and I'll just go in one of them at random, because there's
Alright.
2 rooms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night.
Night. Thanks for keeping watch.
Yep.
Right. So if you're the one keeping watch, Fisher, are you leaving the doors of the room open, or are you closing them and staying in the corridor?
I'll close them.
Okay. A little bit of
They
privacy.
don't need to be open.
All right.
Yeah, I'll just hang out between the 2 rooms.
All right. You place yourself, go into the good Lord, I can't remember
Sentry
the name.
rest.
Yeah, that's it. Sentry rest. As you prepare, you hear Taranad just go, well, actually, if you don't mind, I think it'd be an interesting idea if you would just completely shut off. Just for an hour. I think I figured out a way to get over this thing inside of you that's been limiting me a little bit. But I'll need to reinitiate the arcane lattice that's reaching out inside of you. It would be easier if you just went out for maybe an hour or 2.
Oh, okay. And then I'll knock on Jorg's door and then just open it and walk in and go, never mind. I need like an hour or 2 apparently. And then go lie down on the other bed.
All right.
Alright, so as Jorg and Fisher enter one room, this means we actually will get Audience and Remy in the same room. So, Audience, you go take your bath, and Remy,
Yeah.
what do you do while Audience is taking his bath?
But like, I mean, I don't know how specifically audience is going to react to this, and like, and you know, like don't judge him quite yet as I say this, but Remy is kind of like
You're making it
but
really
Remy
hard not to.
Remy is following like not he's not hiding. He is actually like openly following audience to like to his bath basin.
Okay. Audience would probably turn towards her. I mean, like,
Yeah, he's turning toward you right now, and he's looking at you.
would turn towards Remy. I would be like, I see. Do you wish to discuss what happened with the dragons and the rival god today? It was quite fascinating.
So maybe we'll think on it, and like he'll put it up on his hand and like kind of like do that middle motion.
That middle, like, what motion?
You know, because I know
Either
I know my
or
camera
kinda.
isn't always clear about
Either
what
or.
I do with my hands.
The so-so motion, you know.
So. Audience will be like, yes, it was to know that we have a rival champion out there, and obviously I was able to defeat her now, but is she aligned with the Hunter God, or does she have her own agenda? I do not know. And I'll look at Remy and I'll be like, are you worried that she's going to come after you next as you're a disciple of the dragons as well?
Just Raimi just like kind of like looks up the ground a bit, and then just like looks up at you with a worried look on his face.
I'll be like, don't worry. The dragons are strong. We will prevail, I'm sure. And I've seen you fight. You can hold your own. I'm sure you'd be able to handle her if she came after you.
Raimi pauses on that. Like, he looks like he's actually thinking. Like almost like something that you said, kind of like, or I don't know, maybe that's more of an insight.
I didn't roll an
Maybe.
insight. I don't know how it'll go. Poorly is the answer to that question. Where's my insight? It's 0, right? Yeah, 4. Audience will roll a solid 4 on insight.
So he's being himself, as usual. I think you rolled only one good insight roll since the beginning of the campaign. So.
Yeah. I have.
Then basically it just boils down to, like, when you say that, Raimi just kind of like looks really quiet and just seems to be like staring off into space. You don't know why, though.
Don't worry, Rancid. Like, take your time. It's a lot to process. Anyway, I'm gonna take my bath. Did you also want to take a bath? Do you want me to ask the innkeeper to draw you a bath as well? I know you like to bathe.
Actually, like, Raimi will dig out from the box again and offer you a specific bar of soap.
Audience will kind of look at the soap, a little unsure, smell it. Which one are you offering me?
It smells spicy.
It smells spicy. Let's see, do I like it?
Like spicy jello.
I'm giving myself advantage. I like spicy things. Alright. Yeah. I rolled a 19. So
Interesting fragrance.
Audience is intrigued. I guess I'll say, do you mind if I borrow this? This smells nice.
It's just like Rainy just pushes the soap further, offering it to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
So now audience is gonna smell like steak spice.
Smells spicy.
I like the smell of it. It reminds me of what I eat.
When I walk by, I want people to say "muy caliente" to me.
I think you're too high up north to hear Spanish. Okay.
But if especially if you like start walking off, like just before you go, like Remy kind of like grabs you by the shirt and
shirt.
I don't know. Is he wearing a shirt right now? I don't know if he actually
He's
like
never
took
wearing
it
a
off.
shirt.
I'm never wearing a shirt.
All right, then buy your tunic, I guess.
Oh, he's wearing pants. That's it.
You grab me by my pants.
Ever since he got his bracelet to work, he hasn't been wearing a shirt. He's just wearing pants.
Just because like actually no, because of how tall audience is, like the pants would probably be around his arm height. So like kind of grabs by the pants and and like in a child's voice, and you could tell it's a child's voice because of the inflection, but Raimi says, "I'm sorry."
I don't know what you're sorry for, Raimi. You did fine today. There's nothing to be sorry about. You were probably the other most helpful person in that fight, so... I noticed you doing quite a bit, so don't be sorry.
Maybe just to kind of gives a stare, does only kind of a slow but slight nod, and just kind of like a let's go of your pants.
All right, go. I'll be like, you should go to bed too. You've had a long day as well, even if you're not as injured as me.
Rainy will nod a bit more, obviously, and and start walking back toward the inn.
Okay.
But
audience will go bathe.
All right.
But then actually, Raimi won't be going to the room quite yet. Unlike he'll probably realize as he goes to the other room that actually, I'll see which room he actually attempts first. Even numbers is where Jorg and Fisher are. Odd number. Okay. So first he walks into the empty room, realizes that neither of your two are there.
But there are two beds.
Yeah. That's it. He still does a bit of a fist pump, but then remembers the reason why he was looking for you, and went to the other room and kind of knocks on the door.
Well, Fisher is meditating right now, so
off.
One eye. I thought Jorg was also in there.
Yeah.
Unless I was confused.
No,
Jorg will
you're
answer.
not confused. I'm just saying this because Jorg, you're the one who has to answer the door.
Yeah. Yeah, Jorg will get out of bed, even though he was comfy, and open the door.
So you see a Jorg with a blanket on his shoulder. What do you want?
How's it going?
How do you actually react as you're opening the door? Because that'll.
Yeah, I'll say, hey there, Raimi. What you want?
Raimi kind of stares at the ground and kind of taking one of his talons, kind of doing the circle in the circle in the floor. But after a second, he kind of looks up to you, and he does a minor illusion, and an image of audience in his hands, and he says to you, in a voice that you haven't heard, but it's a very it's a very calming and seeming worldly voice, saying, I don't know what to say, Raimi, but I guess thank you.
You what you do you want me to sleep in the room with audience?
That's insight there.
Did you roll an insight? Is that what you got?
Oh no, I did not. I'm gonna roll an insight because I don't understand. Okay, I didn't roll very good insight. I rolled a.
You rolled a what?
11.
11.
Outside of game, Avery, he's thanking you for healing me in the fight and keeping me alive.
Oh.
But
go with your
as Jorg, you sort of remember that Remy seems to talk mostly in metaphor, but that's about as far as your insight goes.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I'm gonna roll my own insight. See if he actually thinks that his thanks got through. No, Ramey's rolls continue to be better. With a 16, he just kind of.
So you get the feeling that he says "You're welcome" because he doesn't know what to say.
He's going to maybe make the. Ramey's gonna cringe as he does this, but he's going to minor illusion the more bloodied version of audience, and then quickly change the image back to a more confident and charismatic audience.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm glad I was there to keep him alive. I guess that was pretty scary when we kept getting knocked out.
Then and like waves the illusion away, like kind of looks around the hallway to make sure no one can see him, and he kind of gives you a quick hug before darting off into the other shared room and closing the door behind him.
Cool. Jorg is gonna be a little confused for a second, and then go back to bed. His feet are getting cold.
All right. Yeah, I did roll a natural 1 for the temperature, so it's unseasonably cold right now.
Man.
It's a brisk outside bath for audience.
For you, audience, you're a dragonborn, and to be honest, you said you were born and raised right next to the Dragonborn capital, which is actually quite far up north. So, you've taken bath like this before. It's actually what you think is normal.
It's refreshing.
Yeah.
The cold keeps you alive.
Especially when you just jump in it. Gives you advantage on Constitution save for 5 minutes.
Okay. I'll take that to my bed with me.
Alright, so as Jorg goes back to sleep, Remy goes to sleep, audience finishes brisk, energizing bath in temperatures that are unseasonably cold for everyone else, but for him, that's how it was raised. And Fisher, you slowly turn off. The world around you just shuts off. And I will make you do a wisdom saving throw and a normal wisdom check.
Separately?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Because one is a wisdom skill roll and the other one is a saving throw.
It's the same modifier, but
yeah.
The save is going to be a 6.
Okay.
As is standard.
Yeah.
And the check is going to be a 2 minus 1 is 1.
Oh my god.
I'm so good, guys.
Fisher, your rolls, if it wasn't for the fact that, we were on stream right now and everyone could see me, I would be running over to my bed to scream into a pillow.
Hey, me too. And then I decided not to care anymore.
All right, well.
Otherwise, it's just depressing.
I wanted so much to include you in this special moment, but apparently you just turn off, nod off, and that's it.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh, goodness.
Pretty standard.
Turn it off. Like a light
Light
switch, go
just
click.
go click.
All right, so I guess we're just gonna take our break, and when we come back, it's just gonna be a yeah.
Fisher doesn't even level. Just
Yeah. Nope. See you guys.
That's what you needed to do to level. You had to succeed one of the two.
Oh man, I would never level if that was the case.
All
all you
right.
had to do was roll above a nat one, and you could have leveled. So the nat.
Well,
Hey,
to be
the
fair,
nat one is right next to the 7 on the D20, so like I was close.
to be fair, your wisdom saving throw, every time you fail it, I reduce the DC just a little bit. But ever since I started to force you to make these rolls, you've been rolling lower and lower and lower. So it just
I'm compensating. Failing by the same amount.
You know, eventually it'll get to the point where you can't fail.
eventually.
I can roll a 0 on a wisdom save.
Yeah, I can
You know
get
what?
below a
Can you
zero.
put a
It's like-
DC at 0?
He's gonna roll it and he's just gonna fall unconscious and 0 hit points. Medic! Alright. So we're gonna give you a few moments to go have a good pee because I think I want to do this after this 2 bad rolls. But we're gonna be back in as close as possible to exactly 10 minutes. So see you all in 10 minutes. Bye.
There's a bug in Terranad software update.
Aha, welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. So, let's just dive right back in. Jorg and Fisher, you are sitting in the same room. Jorg, you go back to sleep. Fisher, I'd like to say that you have pleasant dreams and stuff happens, but you just go off and then eventually you... Oh, is the update done? So yeah, you get from that the moment that you awaken. It's still the middle of the night. As he said, he just needed 1 or 2 hours to rework this. But as soon as you wake up, you feel a small flash of knowledge, connections that you didn't make before between certain elements. And right now I think you're set on Arcana, so this would mean
Yes.
you get small flashes of understanding of Arcana and, oh, I never thought about that, and that's where those two connect. Essentially what happens is that Terranad, the bonus that he gives you for the skill that you choose has just went from +2 to +3. I'll change it officially on D&D Beyond, but until I do that, just letting you know, the bonus has went from +2 to +3.
Like, he finally figured out how to get your internal Wi-Fi to connect to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Well, he still has problem with the internet connection. You know, it's still buggy sometimes, but it's better.
Yeah, the page loads slowly, and sometimes it goes to the Russian version of the page.
Primordial
It doesn't-
version.
Oh, it's not perfect.
Oh, goodness. It's written in Underdark. But I can't read that. Alright. So, but the rest of the night goes without problem, as far as you know. However, you do have something peculiar, because you get to see something from another point of view. Jorg, after you go back to sleep, after having talked to Remy, you go back comfortably and blanket up. It's a bit cold. You're used to climate that's a slightly warmer because you come from an island chain that is a little lower to the south. but it's mostly the same climate. It is quite a bit more windy here, but other than that, it's roughly the same thing. So you bundle up and you let yourself just go a little limp, and eventually you open your eyes and look around, and you notice that you're around a campfire. For now, it feels like it's normal. You're supposed to be there, as many dreams do. You look around and, I don't know, looks like a quiet evening. You see audience, you see Remy, and you see Fisher. They're all resting around the campfire. But you hear a little squeaky cry just behind you. Something that sounds a bit like
I'll investigate.
You turn around and you see a small dog. It's quite literally a puppy right now. It does look a bit familiar. Mostly black. Looks a lot like the dog from that friend of yours who mostly raised you up. But really a puppy version of him. Right now, he just is looking at you, just whining in the way that small puppies know how to. He's sort of just looking at you and rising a paw and sort of waiting for a moment and lowering the paw and
I want to pet him.
you start petting him, and you hear fire crackling right behind you, just a little stronger than usual. You see the dog that sort of start walking around you and going toward the fire. So you follow him with your eyes and you turn around, and within the fire you see images taking shape. You see images of all the things that happened in the day before. You see yourself planting the unicorn totem and then suddenly healing everyone at the same time. And you see you kneeling to help audience as he was completely mashed into a puddle of bleeding meat. And then the images in the fire just goes away and it changes to the image of a shepherd just tending to his flock. And as you look around, you see Fisher, Audience, and Remy, but they're not actually themselves. They all look like sheeps, but you can recognize them because they each have their own eyes instead of the eyes you would expect of finding on a normal sheep. And as you look at all of them and you look at the dog just getting closer to you and just putting his face right next to your knee and just going, looking at you, you sort of wake up at this moment and you realize you're in the room. Fisher is most likely looking right at you right now because he saw something from another perspective. But as you look at him, you look right in front of you, and the puppy is there, staring right at you. Fisher, what you saw was suddenly you just came out of your update pause, And just as you were about to get up from the bed and take your normal guardian position outside, you see a flash of light coming from Jorg's staff. And as you pay more attention to this flash of light, you see that it's coming from the small pendant that he said he took from the garden inside the vault. And as this pendant becomes brightly colored, almost sun level bright, the pendant disappears and you see this puppy materialize right on his lap. And this is when he wakes up.
It's my puppy. I want to pet it.
Oh, he lets you. Seems to like it. He's reacting exactly like a dog right now. The moment that you start petting him, immediately it goes... And he lets you and sometimes guides you just to scrunch him behind the ears. And goes a bit like this with his head. And
Fisher, you seen this?
Yes.
It's my object. It's turned into a puppy, isn't it?
Yeah. I would have to say so. That's interesting.
I think I need a name for it.
Hey,
For him.
Terranad, does that one have a name?
I don't know. A puppy is... It's a bit hard to tell. I'll have to take a moment for this. Maybe if you could put me back on history or something.
It is the morning. Can I switch him over?
Yeah.
I'll switch him over to history.
I need my access to Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Alright, well...
I want to.
It's not exactly morning, it's the middle of the night, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to completely take effect. It's gonna let me do something else for another player while this happens.
Yeah.
But do you want to do something else, Jorg?
I want to pick my puppy up and take it over and barge into the other room and show...
Jorg, it's the middle of the night, dude.
But I got a puppy. Is the puppy looking sleepy?
I think
He just woke
needs
up,
to sleep.
quite literally. So he's playful. You get the feeling that if you throw something, he's just gonna go get it and come get it back to you. Fisher
does have a point.
Well, Jorg, we need to know: do you actually leave the room to go show Jamie an audience?
I probably...
Audience was half dead when he went to sleep. He needs to sleep. You can tell him about it in the morning.
Maybe I'll tell him about it in the morning. I'm gonna take my puppy outside though and throw a stick around for him for a little bit.
All right.
Do you want me to come with you?
If you want to come with me.
All right. So long as you don't do this for more than an hour, you will still be able to benefit from your long rest.
All right, I'll do it for like half an hour and then go back to bed.
All right, so you go down and you start playing with your new dog. Your new puppy. All right. As this goes on, and for some reason during the middle of the night, people start hearing the small squeal of a puppy inside the hallways of the inn. Audience. You go to bed feeling clean, re-energized, and you fall asleep after a few minutes. You smell something in the air. You open your eyes again, and you're right in front of a forest. And just as you're trying to see better inside the forest, you see a very large head, a very large draconic head, slowly emerge from it, and you recognize the head of your god. Audience.
I'll drop to my knees. Yes, master.
We go back to Darth Vader.
Yeah, no, I was laughing at the scene from Anakin. Just, yes, master.
Audience. This was an interesting choice that you made. I haven't known you to think about the future much. It's an interesting change if this is what you're going for. Why did you spare her? Why did you not try and convince her of the superior powers of your god?
To be honest, I didn't even know if she... I mean, she came out of a mirror. I honestly didn't even know if she was a living creature or what, or if she was a illusion created by magic. I was kind of confused. But I know the one thing I did know is I knew she'd fought honorably and given me one of the best fights of my life, and I didn't feel right just killing her there, so I let her go to perhaps see if she returned, and if so, how. She kind of interested me, as also I knew that if she was the champion of a rival god to you, I didn't think I would be able to so easily convince her in our first meeting, especially when she seemed still quite upset that of your power and greatness.
Yes. Yes, even for us gods, looking into the future is a tricky thing to do. I do hope you will make efforts into converting her in the future. This can be interesting. She wouldn't be able to replace you, but she could become interesting.
Next time I see her, I'll see how she reacts to me now that I've spared her life. If she reacts any differently.
Speaking of reaction, I haven't heard a lot of new voice recently.
No, I've been having a bit of a time recently, both with, and I'll tell him about, even though I assume he already knows, about being traveling across dimensions and then getting stuck in the realm with the, like other creature in the maze. And then I honestly haven't been around many people recently.
The natural forces of the world can wreak havoc on a mortal body. But then again, I think I have been taking you onto priestly business maybe a little too much. Maybe granting you something a little bit more grandiose would help you on your quest.
I will take whatever guidance or power you wish to give me.
Yes. I can also sense uncertainties inside of you.
I mean, some. They're not... I've just, I am more, I'd say, world traveled than when I used to be, and I have seen some things that have not made me question, but have made me realize that you are not the only powerful figure out there, and that this perhaps would not be quite as easy as I first imagined.
Yes. You were very naive when you left. Then I guess this is a good thing. Test your resolve. But remember, as you test your resolve even more, you will meet those who will try to convince you of the errors of your way.
I mean, I already have.
Yes, I know. Be mindful. Other dragons, especially those with a metallic allegiance, will try and tell you things. And those exiled.
I was meaning to ask, do you know who your rival is? Because she said she worshipped a rival god. Do you know who that is? Do you know who your rival is? Who I should look out for?
Oh, well, there are more than one. I wouldn't necessarily call any great rivals. I'll have to think about this. Which one of them would consider itself to have my abilities?
And which one would be most likely to have a blue dragon champion that was almost seemed identical to me in terms of at least ability?
Yes. Well, as I understand it, you were the victim of a mirror, of a magical mirror, created a long time ago, made to draw out the opposite. Yes. Maybe that is something I should look into. Just be mindful, and suddenly you hear the voice of your master growing dimmer and dimmer as he speaks. And you hear a rumble coming.
I'll look up confused.
You hear a rumble coming from within you. A rumble that suddenly starts feeling like a distant roar. Something that at the same time strikes fear inside of you, but also respect. The only image that comes into your mind as you hear this is like the sun. You know that you shouldn't look at it for too long because it can injure you, but without it, there is no light. And you hear this rumble growing stronger, and eventually you hear words forming from the rumble, from the roar, and you hear this deep, powerful, low voice that says, "Don't let fear choose your path."
I'll look around and be like, who are you? What do you, what do you want with me?
As you say this, you hear the voice of your god again come through clearer audience. Are you still having problem concentrating?
I'll kind of shake my head, like, come back. I'll be like, did you not hear that?
I told you need to pay attention when I speak. You need to stop living in your mind so much. This was one thing that held you back during your training.
I'm sorry, it won't happen again. I'll shake my head, kind of. Sorry.
Well, I believe your friends are waiting for you. Dawn is coming. I will grant you more powers. Try and be more like a champion than a priest. I admit, I pushed you too far in the priestly business of spreading the word. You see his claw reaching out from the shadows of the forest and just touching you, and you feel an infusion of power going through your body. And then you wake up as you feel this surge of power with the last few words of your god. Remember, do not listen to the words of other dragons. They will try to steer you away. Most of them do not believe in themselves.
I'll give a nod.
And this is when you wake up.
Alright.
It is morning. Jorg, you played with your puppy friend, and then you went back to sleep. Fisher, you saw Jorg coming back to his room with his puppy. Remy, you slept... Well, you probably had a few nightmares about seeing audience being flattened to a pancake and blood splashing everywhere. But you wake up and you turn quickly and you see he's there. He's not bloody. Right. Things are good. For now.
And also, by this point, the room is probably permeated with the smell of spicy soap.
Yeah. You just... You will forever associate this with audience now. He's just a spicy dragon. All right.
As he just sits up in bed, and like maybe even gives a few scratches behind the ear of and.
Oh, this is gonna be interesting. So you take your cat out of his dimensional pocket. You crunch behind his ear just a little bit. When he walks, like all cats do, taking the gentle pet for a few moments and then turning around and showing you his butt as he's leaving, slowly, content. So, you all wake up and you all leave, and you find yourself all in the hallway. Fisher, you see audience. Well, audience, is there something you'd like to do before getting up, or just go up, go downstairs?
I would probably check my arm, see if my armor had grown at all, because of what happened last time I had weird dreams. But
no, the arm hasn't changed for now.
Okay, that's good. I still just look like the Winter Soldier. Okay.
For now, yeah. Yeah, so for people who might be watching, every single player has told me what kind of progression for their object they want. I'm not just arbitrarily giving someone a bonus when others don't have some. It's all been arranged with each of them. So I'm not favoring anyone or being mean to anyone.
Nah, then I'd probably just go into the hallway.
Alright. So, you get up, go into the hallway. Remy, most likely following just a few moments after. Audience seems to have retaken his usual morning self, ready to face the day, to face the dangers of the day, hoping there will be danger during the day. Fisher, you see them all both leave the room, and you see Jorg leaving the room with his puppy in his hand. And immediately when you enter the hallway, Jorg, your puppy starts wiggling, trying to get out of your reach, trying to go toward Remy, who has a cat near his legs, who's going... I think you're muted. I can't hear a thing.
Yep, I'm muted. I'm gonna ask Remy, is that your cat?
So, like Remy, like nods and kind of like I don't know how well you're holding on to your puppy, but like Remy just like starts putting like a little bit of like a bodily distance between between your pup and just like just trying to protect them.
Jorg, it's not hard holding on to your puppy. It's literally a puppy that's
wiggling.
the equivalent of maybe 9 months old. It's really just a small ball of fur.
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep holding on. Teach him not to go after cats as much.
Well, at least one cat.
Yeah, maybe I'll make him a leash too at some point. Not now, because I'm holding on to him.
Maybe just out of maybe a certain level of paranoia, just like makes a clicking noise with his mouth and returns his friend to his pocket dimension. Still can't.
So you basically hear... All right.
Like, Remy, your cat exploded.
Yeah. No, okay.
Your cat can do Misty Step? Wow! All right. Well, you're all in the hallway, right outside of each of your room. What do you want to do?
We should probably head towards Othen now.
Yeah. You doing better?
I am.
Cool.
Anyone else have any weird dreams last night? Or...
Yeah.
No.
I had a weird one, and then I woke up and I had a puppy.
What was your dream like?
You guys were sheep, and I was the shepherd. And,
who was the best looking sheep out of us?
Honestly,
it boils down to whose eyes do you like best?
Yeah. Yeah, really? What color are you guys' eyes?
Mine are
golden.
just red circles.
So he looks like Terminator sheep.
Kind of freaky looking.
Fisher looks like Terminator sheep.
Mine are golden.
Ooh.
That's a little confusing because Ramy's eyes are also golden.
Ooh.
I guess mine
One has
are.
bird eye.
Yeah. I don't know how to do it different.
Yeah, really, they were sheep. I didn't really have a preference over all of them. But then there was this puppy in it, and then my little pendant turned into the puppy.
That's adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Audience does look disappointed that you weren't able to answer his question.
Who is the best looking sheep? Oh, damn, no answer.
These are the important questions in life, okay?
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention to the sheep, but you probably would make a pretty good looking sheep.
Oh, thank you.
Not gonna lie.
That's what I needed to hear.
Maybe just maybe as Jorg is saying, that just kind of like minor illusions, a spotlight over audience.
Thank you, Remy.
And you hear a faint sound also with the minor illusion that goes, oh.
Now that it's morning, I'll ask Terranad, do you remember a name for the... if the puppy already has a name?
Well, I don't know if the puppy has a name, but I know that the pendant is also called the Pekmet pendant, relating to a ancient god. Nature god, of course. Mostly around animals that usually by themselves helps humans. And other humanoids, but mostly humans because they're usually the one that needs the most help. Basically, if you ever get lost in the forest, you should pray to it. It's gonna help.
Makes sense. Terranad said that your pendant was a Pacmet pendant.
A Pacmet?
God of helpful animals or something.
You'd hear Terranad go, but you can't.
I'm gonna write that down. How do you spell it?
P-A-K-M-E-T.
You mean PACMAN?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Why? Because I don't want to have to pay intellectual property.
Yeah, well,
Like
now I'm gonna have to come up with it.
It'll get really weird once the puppy just like opens its mouth like a full 180 degrees.
And you don't know why? It keeps eating these golden pellets everywhere.
I mean, no weirder than Fisher's worm, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things
I wonder how
bonkers.
my dog would interact with your worm. Maybe you should let your worm out more often.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's talk more about the like offering a worm to your puppy. It's like,
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm comfortable with that, given
Sweet.
his reaction to the cat so
Uh,
far.
You just wanted to play. He's a puppy.
maybe also find a jar of peanut butter just to complete the image.
Speaking of which, I mean, Terry's kind of small, so he can fit in a nice box that I can kind of keep safe. What are you going to do about that when we get in trouble?
I'm gonna grab some rope out of my bag. I'm gonna tie it into a nice little leash, and then walk the puppy.
Yeah, but what
What happens when we take a
when we're in a
fireball?
fight?
Oh, when we're in a fight? That's a good question.
Because Raimi's cat can blink out of existence.
Yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Does it
Also,
turn
did you
back
just,
into the
just,
pendant?
just for visual sake here, did you really tie a rope around a puppy's neck?
I did it carefully.
Did
I
you,
used a
did
square
you do a
knot so it
slip knot?
doesn't
Did you do a
tighten.
slip knot while you're at it, just to
No.
complete the image here?
I did a square knot. It won't tighten. Don't worry, he's an animal handler.
Yeah, you know animal handling. It's gonna work fine.
In fact, maybe he'll tie it into a nice harness for the dog.
Like one of those over-the-shoulder things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it doesn't strangle the dog and keeps it in check. I'm sure a object several hundred, if not thousands of years old, is going to appreciate it very much. So
Yeah.
you all paid enough
on we go
the
then.
day before. You all have your paid meal at the when you go down.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll start heading over to Othenel to head back to the
Alright.
garden.
Yeah.
So you eat your meal. Jorg, you suddenly start. Well, you're not sure. Should you feed it? Does it need to be fed? I mean,
I probably would feed it, but
Remy's never fed his cat.
yeah.
But Fisher has fed Terry before. So, you know, it's 50-50.
Speaking of which, I'm gonna put another berry in his box.
Okay. Alright, so you try and give your little puppy the exact same thing as you're eating, or are you trying?
Yeah. No. I'll get him some. Well, I'm eating pretty tough meat, huh?
Well,
Make a good.
what you took for a meal was... it's mostly fresh.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give him some of that.
He eats it, looks at it for a moment, and looks at you and just do the... Start eating it.
He's a good boy. I'm gonna eat too,
Alright.
and then. You guys think he has to eat?
I don't know, it's a dog.
Yeah.
Fisher's thing is more worms. Alright.
Audience
Oh.
shrugs. He's like, I don't know, my thing hasn't made a physical appearance, so.
Other than crawling over your skin.
I mean, yes, but I don't have to feed my arm.
Yeah. How do
But
you
if
know
you
it's not
stop eating-
feeding on your arm?
Yeah.
I'll look down at my arm and I'm like, you know what? It still works.
He tries to remove the bracelet. He doesn't have an arm anymore.
Oh, God.
And then you hear, yes. Alright.
Let's head out.
Alright.
Yeah.
You eat your meal, you gather up your stuff, and you start walking toward Otanel. Alright, so I'm not gonna start. Alright, well, it's a nice day. You know, clouds are starting to form over your head.
Wait for it.
The temperature has risen quite a lot. But as you are walking out, you find yourself having to speak like this to one another because I rolled a natural 20 on the wind.
Oh, God.
There
You
it
need
is.
different dice for the weather.
I change my dice almost every time I do this, but because all I do is take, alright, I have my 3 dice, I roll them, and the first one that falls is always cloud. The second one I roll is for the wind, and the third one I roll is for temperature. But the second one is always really high, no matter which one it falls on. So it's canon.
Tornado Alley over here.
It's a really, really powerful wind corridor that is on this island that just goes right through the center, and this is why there's no forest there. So you walk in this.
Like, you know what? If Ramy's coat wasn't dry by this morning, then.
Oh, don't worry. It's been thoroughly cleaned. And you assume that it's been more clean than it should have because the cook has a purple apron. But
I know, like the joke I was gonna make is like, if it wasn't dry already, it's definitely dry.
oh,
now.
definitely, and it's really warm today, and it's not because of the humidity. So it's really a radiant day with a few clouds in the sky and extremely windy.
Once again, like every few steps, like Raimi just kind of like hops into the air a little bit, trying to catch some of the wind, but no.
And it's strong enough that if you're shedding a few feathers right now, they really just go. So you walk most of the day in this extremely windy temperature, and does anyone care to make a perception roll as you're walking?
Might as well. I got a 19.
Okay.
10.
So, Fisher, you are unfortunately caught up trying to figure out why you always get this funny feeling whenever you turn off, but nothing ever happens. But, it's weird. It's like something wants to happen, but it just doesn't. You spend a part of the day thinking about that. Fortunately, Jorg is very perceptive about his environment and is looking around. And today is extremely uneventful. It's even boring. There's so much wind. You get the feeling that, people might have decided to not travel too much today, especially those in large caravans. And as you're getting closer and closer to Otonel and you start seeing it from afar, and caravans that have tops that are completely covered with some sort of tarp or cloth cover would probably start flying in winds like this. So that's why. But
cuts back to Raimi trying to fly.
you see him just taking two or three more steps and jumping. But the day is extremely uneventful, as I rolled extremely low on the table of encounters. So it's a boring, windy day. And every time you want to convey that information to someone, I'm not seeing everything. What? All right. You even have to chase after your dog a few times because he just starts rolling. So you get to Otonel. You find the large city, the small village growing out of it, the huge... Well, actually, now that you've seen a shield guardian before, it does feel like the city is protected by two shield guardians as you're entering. They're just much more ornate and made with vibrant colors. The colors of the city.
So we know we can take them.
Well, I said they look like them. There might be a few...
Also, you almost died when we fought one.
Yes, but we did
We're level
win.
5 now.
Last time you fought one, you sort of understood what a hamburger feels like. So, but yeah, you might be able to take on one. But there's two right now in front of the city, greeting people as they come in. Of course, as soon as you enter the city, because of the walls, the wind dies down a bit, or at least it feels like the wind dies down a bit. And you are inside of Otonel. first tier of the city, where most of the peasants that do not live outside of the wall lives. Since it is nearing, I'd say maybe 2 or 3 o'clock, most of the peasants are still outside tending to the fields. Streets look like a calm day inside of a city, not a calm day inside of a village.
I know you guys probably want to get back to the garden as soon as possible, but I would like to talk to somebody here first.
Okay. Who do you want to talk to?
Civ.
Ah.
All right. How do you go about doing this?
I will go back to Iselina's place.
The store where she works. All right. Well, yeah, it's 2 or 3 o'clock. It's on the first tier of the city, near the walls. You've been there several times. It's not hard to find. The day is a bit warm, so also there's less people because of that. People are just sticking to the shadows just because it's slightly cooler there. But yeah, you easily find the shop. It is open, and as soon as you enter, you see her behind the desk. She's currently facing away from the door. She seems to be tidying up things in shelves that are just behind her.
Hi.
She turns around. Oh, hey! Oh, hi! Well, you haven't been gone for very long. Have you been able to finish your quest?
Yeah. It was lucrative, but also, I guess, technically a trap.
Oh, well, as long as everyone got out of it alive, I mean, it's not so bad.
Yep.
How do you define everyone?
Yeah. I'm actually looking for Civ.
Oh.
He said you always happen to know where he is somehow.
I think he's exaggerating a bit, but, you know, it's not too hard to find someone if you really put your mind to it. Let me see. Where would he be? Who else has entered the shop with you?
Oh. Who's coming with me? I assumed y'all were just following me.
I kind of just followed them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just following him.
It's basically everyone just following Fisher and then enter a shop, and then they all enter the shop, and oh, okay. Jor, you get the feeling that, oh, maybe you are also a sheep. Alright, so you all enter the shop, and I'd say, Jorgen audience, could you make a religion roll if you can? If you want.
I got a 15.
Okay.
That's one, right? Yeah, I got an 8.
Audience, you're slightly distracted by everything that happened during the night, so you're not paying that much attention to what she's doing. Jorg, however, you're looking at her, just closing her eyes like this and going, now where could he be? And the way she's concentrating, this feels a bit like a prayer, but she doesn't seem to be realizing it. As if she was casting a spell without actually trying to be casting a spell. And she just goes, Well, he said he was gonna go to the library that's coming from the Dragonborn capital, but I have a feeling he's coming back here right now. I think he's gonna go by the blacksmith. Yeah, I don't know why. It just feels like this could be the right way to go. I don't know if it's gonna help, but I think he's gonna be coming back from this direction.
What blacksmith would that be?
Oh, you just keep following the main road, you know, just the one that goes to the section of this village center. And once you're there, the well is on the side, on the left side, upper left side. Just next to it on the right, there is the entrance to a small blacksmith shop. A very nice person. He keeps doing us little favors, and when it comes to repairing things for the shelves. And
Cool. Thanks.
oh, you're welcome. As always, you're always welcome here. I'm sure my uncle would appreciate it if from time to time you bought a few potions, but I'm just happy to I'll see you again.
I felt like that was a pointed comment.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, guys. You need any potions?
I can make my own.
I don't really need potions.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
That's alright, don't worry about it.
Probably be back at some point.
I'm just gonna tell him that it was someone looking for something else. And she gives you a wink when she says that.
And then I guess we'll head down to the blacksmith.
Just slides a piece of parchment with her phone number on.
I'm gonna tell Fisher, hey, you know, when she was thinking about where he might be, kind of looked like she was casting a spell. Maybe some sort of divination.
That's,
Fun fact.
Huh. Can you cast spells like that?
No. Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if she was aware of it. So
That's
maybe,
weird.
but probably not.
Huh.
Yeah, maybe it's just the woman's intuition.
Well, Fisher, you do remember that in the past, as you were all making your way towards play, she did show magical inclination.
Mm-hmm.
But she never did anything that went past the cantrip.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe I'll ask Siv about it. He's really attentive about stuff.
Right. So, as you're talking to with this, you're making your way toward the blacksmith, and surprisingly enough, just as you enter the... I was going to say the town square, but it's more a circle, and it's not actually this square of the city, it's just of this tier of the city. But just as you're arriving and you're looking for the well, you look around and you actually do see Siv walking down the street. In very normal, non-hurrying speed.
I'm gonna check out, by the way, because it's 1:30. So.
Yeah, you look a little bit under the weather, so don't worry anyway. The stream is about to end, so you're not going to miss a lot. So
I will see you guys.
bye.
See ya.
I will wave Siv.
As soon as you raise your hand, you see him look in your direction and just give a slight bow and keep walking past the blacksmith and going towards you. You have all made your way back here so soon. This quest of yours was most likely not something very time consuming if you're already back.
I guess you could say that. It was a rather small lab area.
No.
I don't know if it was big or not for a laboratory, but yes. Ended up being a big old trap, but
Nah.
we're alive and we got a lot of stuff out of it. So
Well,
that's good.
As we can often hear adventurers say, any adventure you come out of alive is a good one.
Yeah. Anyway, I was meaning to talk to you about what we were talking about before we had to leave last time, which was
Yes.
when you mentioned that you know where we're from.
As you say this, he glances toward Jorg. Do we need somewhere more private to talk? Or...
That's up to you. I think I'm kind of stuck with these guys.
Very well. And please, lead on to wherever you want to go to talk about these things, as I am sure you most likely do not want to talk about these things in large public.
Mm-hmm. I was actually wondering if you would... I would actually have to... Pretty sure it's fine. I was wondering if you would come with us back to the garden. Which is where we were originally headed when we first met.
Yes, you've mentioned this before. An odd calling from a mysterious organization.
Yeah. There are a lot of constructs there, but they're not quite like us. And they've been kind of helping me try and figure out who I am or what I was before. And I think you could help a lot with that.
Well, I can always try. I don't believe there is a problem with this. Where exactly do we need to go then?
It's just a little bit outside Ottenel here. There's a portal.
Ah.
You've got some time.
Well, yes. I do have time. The research I've been doing is a research for myself. So I have time to give to whatever you wish to talk about. And I imagine that you want simultaneously to talk with this organization of yours.
Yes, that would be preferred, unless you are uncomfortable with that.
Comfort usually only comes from what you know, and the world is filled with things you do not know. I believe in your intentions. So I will follow you.
Cool. Mind if we go now?
I'll just be a moment. I promised Isalina that I would warn her when my day was over. But after that, yes, of course, we can leave.
Sounds good.
Very well.
And then I'll just say, why don't you just catch up with us at the... Is it the south gate that's closest to the portal?
Yeah.
Yeah. At the south gate when you're done.
All right.
Yeah, we'll be there.
This should only take a few moments. So I'll meet you there.
Right. And then after we break off, I will call Syrah.
Okay.
With the orb. Go. I've found someone, another construct like me, who's apparently from a similar place, or I don't know. I haven't really talked to him about it yet, but I was hoping to bring him to the garden because they wanted another construct to talk to.
Yes,
Can he just walk through the portal? Or...
this can be arranged. Do you trust him enough to bring him in here?
Yes. He's... what do they call him? Blade something.
Blade master.
He's all about honor and doing the right thing, and he helped us on the way when we were originally on the way to the garden the first time, and we probably wouldn't have made it without him. So
okay, well, yes, there are one or two of these blade masters among the adventurers, even though some of them are quite loud. They usually are all with a great amount of honor in everything they do. All right, well, so long as you are sure of him, I'll arrange it. The portal will open and let him through. You are going to be appearing next to the garrison, however. The same entrance that you came in the first time that you were summoned here.
Fair enough. Alright, yeah, we should be heading through in... How long does it take to get to the portal?
Time to get out of the city and walk to the portal. It's something that you can do a little under an hour.
Oh, okay, yeah. We'll be there pretty soon then.
Alright. Well then, this should be interesting.
Yeah. And then I will hang up, and you guys... if you guys have anything to do in the city?
Fisher turns toward all of you with this
autopilot
expression on his face, although he doesn't have a lot, but his expression does say, oh geez, I completely forgot you were there also. Is there anything you'd like to do?
That, can't be done in the garden?
Nope.
Raimi's actually going to look toward the sky.
Okay.
Is the one ship still there?
Which one? There are several ships there. It's a busy skyport.
Like specifically because unless I'm misremembering, which I could be, but there was as you described, a literal like a traveling library.
Yes, it's
on a ship.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what Civ was referring to. He just came back from. Sorry, I don't know why I keep burping like this. He literally just came back from it, so it's still there. Yeah.
Then the Raimi is going to minor illusion a book case.
Sure, is that not something they have in the garden?
It's, how would Raimi express this? Actually, yeah, it would probably not be in common. So, so you just like repeat something in a kind of like an unsettling voice, in a language that, if I remember correctly, you don't know.
Probably not.
That's not ominous at all in any way.
Oh no, Jorg, what are your known languages?
I can speak Common, Druidic, Elvish, Halfling, and Sylvan. Obviously Common. Everyone can speak Common.
Druidic is a language that only Druid and some Sylvan creature can speak. So it's really Elvish, Halfling, and Sylvan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you can't understand this either.
I don't speak what that is, Raimi. Do you need a specific book? Or are you just looking for more books in general?
Okay. Raimi, like realizing he has something more of a point, he is going to shit, what was the... I'm blanking on his name, so I'll just but he minor illusions the image of the kobold.
Okay.
And
Grim?
then
Grim, you're talking about? Grim? Okay.
Yeah, Grim. That's what it was. I introduced literally once. Anyway.
Yeah.
To me.
Oh no, to everyone except audience. Audience knows him more than all the rest of you, but for everyone else, it's just once.
And then he minor illusions a picture of a dragon, and then he points to one of the feathers on his body.
So the clue you have is Grim, dragons, Remy's feather. I wanna think that Jorg is actually reacting the same way as Avery is right now.
It's kind of trying to figure out what.
And then once again, like minor illusions, a bookcase.
Are you wanting to talk to Grim?
You see a look of dread on his face.
Okay. Do you want to go to the library? Because it will be here for a bit. Or at least I assume. Otherwise, I don't think Civ would be coming with us. Are you looking for stuff about the dragons?
Raimi nods and points to his feathers again.
I don't think there are any feathered dragons.
Minor illusions, Grim.
Fisher, make an intelligence roll. I know you love
Thank
them.
you. Oh, that's... No, never mind. That's a 6.
It feels like it's something...
I rolled a 3.
Dun, da, dum, bum. It feels like it's something that you should remember. You know, like this moment when you... Oh, I think I know what he means. It's not coming out, sorry. That's a bit how it feels for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Raimi, I'm not following. Just a quick yes or no. Is this something that has to be handled right now? Or could we come back, possibly?
Aw, that's mean.
Maybe just like looks down at the dirt, but he does shake his head.
Okay, because I mean, I don't want to override what you want to do, but Civ seems to be ready to come with us now, and this is extremely important to me.
Just Raimi nods and looks as though he acquiesces.
Feels a bit like looking at a kid that sort of realized that, you know, you're right, it's more important.
There is a portal very close, so we can come back.
Alright.
And then I guess we'll start heading down to the gate.
Alright. You turn around, you make your way to the southern gate, and as you planned, you do meet Civ there. Surprisingly, but also not so surprisingly, he is already waiting for you. You do know that he can move quite a lot faster than all of you, but he is already waiting for you, and the moment you arrive, he just gestures to let you go first. Show him the way.
Right. Yeah, and then I guess we'll start going back to the portal.
Yeah, that feels an interesting cinematic moment to end the stream on, as he just points out, and you see everyone start walking out. And then the screen starts fading to black. And then you start seeing the credits, which I don't have because no one is following enough to activate subscription. And I don't have anyone on Patreon. So I can't put anyone in the credits.
I mean, you can put credits. It's just you just put all the names would just be Alan Smithy.
No, it's just like when when you do a school project, but nobody else in your group does any work.
You just put your
The
name
last slide
everywhere.
is just under everything. You put your own name.
Yeah, I've had someone do that on me. The problem was that I actually did something. Alright, so let's not go into bad memories, and we're just gonna end the stream here. So, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you had a pleasant day. It was one of those stream with a little bit more history about specific members of the group. Unfortunately, Fisher didn't succeed any of his role, so it's gonna go to next time.
Yeah, so pretty normal stream then.
One day you will get your time. Alright, so thank you all for watching. I hope you had a pleasant evening, day, morning, whatever moment of the day you're gonna watch this with during. So I hope you had a pleasant whatever hour it is. Actually, well, whatever 3 hours this is. And as always, if you enjoyed the show, you can support us by following us on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember, if we reach 50 followers, we can actually activate subscription and put people in the credits.
Hey.
Which I will most likely do. Take a picture of the 50 followers which I have and try and come up with some sort of credit. At least thanking all of you for being these first 50 followers. I know some of you won't care because they're not watching the channel anymore, but still, you know, your vote counts. So,
bragging rights for when it gets huge.
yeah, you know, one day. Hopefully one day soon, but one day. And of course, you can always support us by making a donation or becoming a Patreon. Both of those things I would like very much, because right now the picking is a bit slim because of everything that's been going on. And of course, you can always help us by simply spreading word of our channel, because the more people that are watching, the more fun it is sharing with them, talking in the chat. Because right now it's mostly the cast, the players, talking with chaotic calling. That's, which I appreciate, but it's not, there isn't a lot of variety in discussion. But I appreciate everything, and the more people there are talking of us, well, maybe this means you don't have to follow us or give us donation, because they will. So if you want to support us in any way that I've mentioned, there are links right below the windows. If you're watching this on Twitch, on YouTube, it's in the description below. There's a lot of links in there. And on Patreon, well, Patreon is a platform on which you can actually become a Patreon, so you don't need a link for that. So thank you all, and see you all next Wednesday. And as always, stay safe, and especially in these weird times, which are hopefully coming to a close in the next few months, stay healthy. Bye!
Good night.